Hi students, two major ideas in this lesson, the midpoint and distance formulas. What's the difference between them? How do we use them? We'll start with what a midpoint is, and a midpoint sounds exactly what it is. It's the middle, it's the center of a segment, and it's a point that goes through it. We have these dash marks, and you'll see a lot of this year from now on. That indicates that this segment is congruent to this segment. Alright, so be very careful. Even though something looks like the midpoint, you can't assume it is unless the geometry diagram or the words in the problem communicate that to you. So we did some examples, such as this one where we had two congruent segments. I know that because that's the middle, and it's asking us for the length of the entire segment. So we always set up by writing a formula that represents the picture. So we have to first look at the picture and see what facts it's telling you, see what story it's telling you. And from this picture it says that this blue and this red segment are the same length, equal length. So we write that equation, then we plug in and solve using Algebra 1. We get what the variable is, but we have to answer the question. They're asking for the entire length. So lots of times you may have to plug in. If x is 5, then this segment is 2 5s plus 3, which is 10 plus 3, which is 13. Alright, which means the entire length is 26. Alright, so that's the midpoint. We also did a midpoint formula on graph paper, coordinate axes, and we said that the midpoint on coordinate axes, it's essentially taking the average of the x's. So here are the two x's, and you take the average, the middle, and the average of the y values, find the middle one, and that intersection is the midpoint. The formula for the average is, you take the two coordinates, two x's, add them together, divide by 2, gives you the middle. Take the two y values, add them together, gives you the middle. Alright, so we did some midpoint formula questions. We also did this one here, where it's a little more challenging. This one says, they give you the midpoint, the coordinates, they give you an endpoint, then you want to find the other endpoint. So how do we do that? Well, same thing. You use the midpoint formula, add the two x's, divide by 2, gives us the middle. Add the two endpoint y's, divide by 2, gives you the middle. Plug in and solve, and you get what you need to. Okay. Next thing that we have is the distance formula. Distance formula, I just kind of gave that to you. It looks more complicated than it is. What does the distance formula do? It tells us the length or the distance between 2 points, the length of the segment. So you just label the points and plug in and simplify using some Algebra 1 skills. Alright, so that was the major ideas. It was a pretty long lesson, and hope you learned something. Can we answer these questions? What's the difference between midpoint and distance formulas? Well, midpoint gives you a point. It's in the middle of a segment. Distance tells you the length between those two segments. Alright, and I think that's it. So hopefully this helps for those who watch. Take care.